guys, welcome back. I'm mixing up the paint for the chair bases, the chairs, and the table base. Once again, this is called Olympic White. It's like an off-white color. It's about the color that they were originally. Everything's ready, blown off, wiped off, everything. We're going right to color. We're not going to put any sealer or anything like that on here. It doesn't need it. All this stuff is indoor table and chairs. It's not going to be outside. So we will be just fine with putting these. Now this is a single stage paint, so this is going to dry shiny. But after my last coat of this, we're going to put on a coat or two of the satin clear. And that's going to take this from shiny to a satin color. Now, people have asked in the past, can you put clear over top of single stage? Yes. This is a urethane single stage, okay? Single stage acrylic urethane paint, okay? This clear coat is also a single stage, or it is a urethane clear coat. Same product, same company, clear versus color. They both get a hardener. They both take a little bit of reducer. So yes, you can definitely put it over top. I've done it a bunch of times. You can also use single stage and put shiny clear over top of it. Probably want to know, why didn't I get this in base coat? The reason why we didn't buy this in base coat is this with the hardener was like 140 bucks, okay? Base coat was almost 200, it was over $200. Okay, so it was like an extra $60, $70 on top of what this would have cost right here. So why not save a little bit of money and just use the single stage and put a satin clear over it? Because if we bought the base coat for $200 and some, we still would have to clear it. Okay, so you don't really have a choice there. Now, if these were going to be pure white, I actually have satin single stage pure white, but these are supposed to be an off-white. So that being said, this is the route we're going. It's a cheaper way to do it. Plus the single stage paint is thicker and it seems to fill in better. Now, another tip, when you have a brand new gallon of paint, even a half gallon of paint, when you pour out of it, your paint gets in this lid right here, in this groove where the lid snaps in. If you poke holes in it all the way around, the paint will drain back down into the can after you pour it. It does not affect the seal. The lid will still seal just fine. But by poking those holes, it just lets it drain back in. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up. It's 4 parts paint, 1 part hardener. I'm going to put 10% reducer just to thin it a little bit. So I'm going to get this done, or mixed up, and we're going to go out there and get the first coat on. Okay, I have my first batch mixed up. Now another thing, I have a stick in the can. Leave that one in there. Don't take that stick and mix your paint that you put hardener in, because then you're going to take that stick out of there that has hardener on it and put it in your gallon, and you're going to ruin your gallon of paint. So I have a second paint stick that I'm using to mix it up once I put the hardener in the cup. Okay, that's the first coat. I opted to not put any reducer in it. I wanted it to be a little bit thicker. I wasn't sure how it was going to react, if I was going to have any issues or not, because these were spray painted at one point. And sometimes when you put urethane reducer, what it does is it will attack the paint underneath. So I wanted to be a little bit more careful. It covered extremely well the first coat. I'm going to put one more coat on. I kind of like them shiny, but we're going to make them satin. Not my table and chairs, so it's not my decision. But they turned out really good first coat. Now, the one thing you want to do is not rush it. Don't rush your paint. Let your paint set up and dry, because if you rush it, you start getting runs. So once you've painted a bunch of stuff, come over here and feel something. I'll feel the bottom of this. Look, I missed this edge right here. You got to get that on the second coat. But let's feel, and I can completely touch this. Okay, we're ready for the next coat. We don't need to wait any longer. This is taking me about 12 to 15 minutes roughly to get around all the parts with a coat of paint. So basically by the time I'm finished, I'm ready to go for the second coat. So we're gonna put one more coat on all this stuff, and then we're gonna let it set for about 20 minutes. Then we're gonna put 2 coats of clear over top of everything, and it should turn out to a nice satin finish. Okay, they look really nice. They will look pretty cool satin as well. 2 coats did it. I went through about a half a gallon of paint, so there's still a half a gallon left over, maybe a hair more than a half a gallon. But if you buy 2 quarts, it's just as expensive, if not a little bit more than a gallon, so you might as well buy the gallon and have extra paint. So that went well. Didn't really, took about as much paint as I thought it would. So we're going to use about the same amount of clear. So I have my hot rod satin clear mixing up in the mixer. I use this a lot because I do a lot of arcade games and parts and stuff like that, and they're always satin finish. Plus that pickup truck I'm working on is also going to be painted satin finish. So I have 2 new gallons in there, and this one's about a 3/4 full. This mix is identical to the single stage paint. 4 parts clear, 1 part hardener, and 10% reducer. You don't have to put the reducer. If you put it in there, it'll make it flow a little bit more, but you got to be careful, because if you over reduce it, you're going to make it real thin and more likely to get runs. Got some free sandpaper the other day. It came in one of my boxes that my throwaway sleeves come in. I don't know if that was an accident or if it was a sample. But all right, I'm going to get this clear mixed up, and we're going to start putting this on. Okay, now I'm going to give it a good 15-20 minutes. Now the key with the satin and matte finish clears is you want to make sure all your parts are the same sheen before you start putting your second coat on. If you look here, this is duller than this one, okay? So if I started hammering on a second coat, this will end up duller, that'll end up shinier, because that's just how it works. If there's any bit of like real shiny areas, wait until they all look the same. So wait until all your satin finish, matte finish, flat finish, all those different kinds of finishes, make sure your whole piece has the same consistency throughout. If it doesn't, give it more time. So I'm going to give it another 10-15 minutes and we'll put the last coat on, and then this project will be done and off to its owner. Okay, it's been about a good 15 minutes since my last coat of clear. It's all done. You can see the finish here. It's got a nice satin finish to it. Everything looks really good. It's got to dry overnight. I'm not going to put any heat or anything on it. It doesn't need it. It's 70 degrees in here, so it'll be just fine. So that's going to end this video, guys, using automotive paint to paint tables and chairs. Thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.